Hello, hello, friends. Welcome back to the Self-Care Summit. Today is day number 12, and we are talking to all kinds of amazing people who have lots of wisdom and guidance and advice for us on how to cope with this global crisis that we are in right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Melanie Wood. My business is Soul Ease Massage and Mind Body Therapy. I'm located in Elmira, New York, and today my guest's name is Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to this wonderful conversation that I know is needed because we're all going through, this giant change in our lives. My business, I actually have a Facebook page, and my business name actually is called The Temple Rose. But I work out of my sister Rose store, which is in Addison, which is called the Mystic Rose. I'm a certified Reiki master. I've had over 25 years in the energy healing field. And I'm also a Transmedium channel, which basically means I have the ability to talk to beings from other dimensions.
How interesting for us.
What's that?
How interesting for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Did I cut you off? Do you have more to add about your business and what you do?
I think, well, I teach classes on ascension, on meditation, on actually spirit dance. I did a spirit dance class, which I loved.
Spirit dance. Is that like a free form, getting into your body, getting into your spirit?
It is. It's kind of like, because I started, with part of my work, one of the things I kind of evolved into is learning that the physical aspect is important in spirituality, and I had neglected it. So it's really about, kind of like you're saying, it's like using movement as like a moving meditation and a way to sort of like open up the chakras through body movement.
It sounds like it promotes a lot of freedom.
And it's fun. It is fun. And I'll throw in like silly songs like in the middle of it. Like we'll do all these really great spiritual songs, and then people won't expect it, and I'll do something just silly. But yeah, it's using your body and movement as a form of like meditation.
Very cool. I'll have to check you guys out after this whole, but when we're able to actually get together and dance together again.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So speaking of knowing that you can't hold your in-person classes and things like that, how is this COVID-19 pandemic affecting you, your business, your personal life? What's happening?
Well, the physical store of Mystic Rose Magic had to close down, which is where I was holding my classes and doing my individual personal readings as well. So it completely impacted it, because classes I had scheduled and, I had people signed up for, I had to not do. Of course, for her as well, she had also, like her physical store had, she couldn't sell her things in it anymore. In terms of how it's affected me, I guess maybe part of the positive for me is I'm actually going to do an online format, which Spirit asked me to do for a long time. And so now I kind of have no choice but to step up, as opposed to what Spirit said I was pussyfooting around it was the word I was given. But to just go ahead and do it. Just show up, just get up and do it. And so I have started transitioning to that. I'm actually doing my first one tomorrow on the full moon. And I'm excited. I have a bunch of people coming. So, I guess maybe, for me, it has been very difficult, learning about this as we're going in terms of the adjustment, but Spirit finds a way. And I feel like maybe that is kind of what we're all kind of learning as we go through this.
Yeah, there are so many people out there being creative about how to keep their business going, keep their community and their way of offering support going online. And thank goodness we have this technology to help us do that. And I'm glad that you are jumping on board as well, because that sounds really cool. That I was looking at the moon through my skylight last night, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a huge moon. this month.
It is the largest moon of the year. It's going to be an enormous moon. And I like to use the moon as a beautiful guide because it's, for me in the work I do, it's like white light. And so it's using white light in meditation, which I love to do. And so the moon is a beautiful representation of that light. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful moon. I'm very excited.
Big giant moon. I tried to take a picture of it through my skylight, and it just made this glow through the whole window was lit up. Like you couldn't see a circle at all where the moon would be. When I took a picture, it was just like this giant.
I was surprised we could see it in the daylight hours, like it was shining. It was like visible during blue sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm so glad that we have things like the sunshine during the day, and the moon as anchors for us. I'm using them as kind of like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little bit down, so I'm going to go stand in the sunshine for a little bit. And then having that moon right directly in my skylight as I was falling asleep last night, I was like, oh, okay, the moon is still there. The world is better now. The moon is still there. So, yeah. When we were chatting about doing this interview, we were actually chatting about nature, and the sun and the moon are huge aspects of nature for us. So, do you want to delve into a little bit about how nature is supporting you right now during this time?
I think I'm going to step back just a little bit and go a little bit prior to that, and then I'll lead into that.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about fear because I think fear is something that on the collective we're all experiencing because there's this, thing happening that people don't know what that means in terms of their own lives. And so as someone that's been on the spiritual path, a huge part of my teaching has been it's been fear. Fear's been my teacher, and I've taught that for years. I was someone that had like terrible anxiety, just being able to talk in front of a group of people was something I wouldn't have been able to do. And through basically meditation and learning how to calm my mind and how to be able to listen to those tapes of fear and what they actually were, like what was causing them, like what the trauma was that created these fear tapes within me, it allowed me to be able to stop running those tapes within my own body. It's like a chemical reaction. When we experience trauma, our bodies release this fight or fight chemical, and this type of chemistry gets programmed in our bodies. So then all of a sudden we're going in something that's actually nothing really fear-based, but we're experiencing anxiety. So I learned, I started meditating when I was young. I was 17 when I started meditating. And I learned through doing that I could access higher levels of consciousness. And also at the same time be able to locate these sort of traumas within my body that I was holding so that I could learn how to heal them and release them. But as I was doing this work, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly becoming, and Spirit said to me, listen, you need to get moving. It's great that you can meditate and you can go into these places, but you have neglected your body. You need to get out there and you need to start moving your body. And part of that is like what makes you really want to move is you have to kind of go back into that space like we were when we were kids. It's like, what did you enjoy doing? What brought you, what made you just naturally want to move? And I'm fortunate enough, I grew up in Oregon. I grew up in the Northwest, and I had 7 acres of beautiful woods when I was a kid. And, I ran those woods wild, and I remembered, when I was a kid, how in some ways awake I was, how aware, how clear. And so for the last, I'd say 3-4 years or so, I started returning more into nature as my kind of like my temple, the place I would go to get clear and to fill up. And it's been I guess a life-changing for me in many ways. So I do it in multiple ways. I like to hike because when you're hiking, you are experiencing the beautiful sun coming into your body here and there. And sunlight itself helps with depression. It gives you vitamin D. It helps fight off, it keeps your immune system stronger. It fights off viruses. It actually 20 minutes in the sunlight is it kills fungus on your body and viruses. So, you know, the sun itself is a natural healer, and trees are a natural healer. Being in trees, it helps center and clear and balance your body like no others. So, I believe that, you know, Mother Nature, to me, she's alive, and she is our natural medicine. What's really interesting is, before, you know, this happened, I've been hiking this one particular area for a couple years, and thankfully my son knows the trails well enough that he can just take me and I just follow him. And we've never seen anybody there ever. And we went yesterday, and the parking lot was packed.
Oh, wow.
And so I see people returning to nature. I see people just naturally kind of doing this, sort of on an intuitive level, because you just can't go into the woods. You just can't go out in nature and then come back feeling the same. Your mood changes, your energy changes, and it's. I guess the one beautiful thing is that people are starting to kind of go there naturally.
Hmm. How often do you get outside? What's your weekly average, so to speak? What do you think?
Um, well, I hike probably 2 or 3 times a week, and then I go out just in my own yard, pretty much every day if I can.
Yeah, so that's an amazing point to bring out. When people think, oh, I have to go out into nature, I have to go do nature, they think they have to, you know, travel 2 hours to the place that has 14 waterfalls and have an experience that's an all-day excursion. And that's not true. You can find a place to sit down right in your yard and have it be your what's called a sit spot, and connect to the same place every single day. So I'm glad
Def-
that you said that. And that's why I asked you that, because when we talk about hiking, it's you know, we have to go somewhere. We have to go somewhere to get to
yes.
nature, but it's not even true. You can sit next to a potted plant in New York City.
Definitely. And you know, when you just if you just can find one place to sit down, what you're experiencing when you're out there is you get to feel the wind, you know, you get to feel the temperature, the sunlight, even the sounds of nature. That's why there's these, you know, places you can go and download, you know, the sound of a creek or,
Mhm.
you know, birds, because it's peaceful. It brings us to a peaceful place. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anywhere extraordinary, just outside, definitely.
Though I like all those extraordinary places. I'm a waterfall addict.
We have, I mean, honestly, upstate New York has, we have a lot to choose from. We're very blessed that way. And they're not overly burdened with people. So you can get out and be all by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's so amazing. We are lucky to live in this area, and it's not too difficult to go. I mean, just walking outside of my house, I live in the city of Elmira, and just I walk 3 blocks and I'm at the river. I drive
Yes,
3 miles and I'm at Tanglewood Nature Center, which is an entire mountainside full of trails. So it's easy to find, and I'm sure that if anybody's looking for advice about where to go if you live in this area, then both Jennifer and I could offer you suggestions that are amazing little, sometimes even little secret spots where you, if you're worried about coming into contact with people, there are some secret spots that are, they're still marked trails, but they're not populated.
definitely. Definitely. And there's a really good app called All Trails, and you just literally can put in your own address, and they'll show you all the trails around you and tell you how long they are, what the elevation is, you know, how difficult and whatnot. So it's a nice little helper too, the All Trails app.
Yeah, I use that app too, and it'll also tell you if it's dog friendly. So you can take your little best friend with you as well, and instead of walking, I see memes out there about dogs getting walked, and it's like the 6th time that they've been around the block on the sidewalks, and they're like, "No, what is this pandemic?" because they're getting tired. So you could do a, you know, kind of a one-shot couple miles hike with your pet using that app as well. Yeah.
Definitely. And you don't have to be in super duper shape. There's all levels of hiking. And you can find ones that are more, level and not as hilly, to fit your needs as well. Yeah, there was actually a lot of dogs on the trails yesterday. It was cute. It looked like it would have been the first time these dogs have actually been trail hiking. So it was like new for them and their owners. So yeah.
Doggy play dates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. So we're talking about using nature or just getting outside in general as self-care. For folks that say, well, self-care is kind of a buzzword, what does that even mean? What do you consider self-care?
So, um, to me, self-care is really about learning how to really take care of yourself. And it's something I think, especially caregivers and mothers, and sometimes we don't put as a priority in our life, unfortunately. And what happens with that is we get burnt out, we get exhausted because we only have so much to give. So self-care is, to me, the first thing we're supposed to do, the priority, the number one. Because if we don't fill up ourselves, if we don't take good care of ourselves, we won't have all that. So, and there's so many ways we can do self-care. In terms of nature, how nature provides this. Well, we talked a little bit about like the sun and how the sun is really good for you. Actually, walking on the earth is really good for you too, because it helps ground us, which is really important. um, a part of our whole system. We need to be grounded into the earth. And, honestly, as an energy worker, I have found that most people aren't properly grounded. And when you're not properly grounded, it's really hard to think clearly. It's really hard to function well. And in times when we're undergoing, more stress as well, we really need that. We need that ability to properly ground.
So what does that mean? What does the word ground mean?
So, um, we have energy centers in our bodies that go, all the way. We know about the basic seven that go from all the way down, all the way up. But actually, the base of our feet have little plugs as well, and those are our grounding plugs. So really, when you're talking about grounding, what you're talking about is going inside of the earth from the bottom of your feet. As if you could visualize your feet having energy cords that go about, 2 feet into the earth. So a natural way to ground is you can actually walk barefoot. Walking barefoot is a really good way to do it. It's amazing, but obviously that's not always practical. You might have poop, dog poop in the yard or whatever. You don't have to walk barefoot. You can just walk, outside with shoes on, but do it in a way where you are kind of consciously, connecting to the fact that I am connecting to the earth. I'm connecting to the mother. I'm running my energy into her. I'm grounding my feet here. And I like to use the breath as a tool for everything. So for me, like just doing a basic, big inhale and then an exhale, and you're running that energy all the way down your body, all the way down your feet.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm notoriously known for having bare feet all spring and summer and into fall. And I'm lucky enough when I am able to work, I'm at a job where I can be barefoot in my office as well. So
That's
I will
nice.
say, don't look at my dirty feet. No judgment there because I am filthy stained all season.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible not to have a little brown staining with walking on the earth, but that's okay because it's
Yeah,
all part of it.
it is. It is. I love it. And I don't know that I could go back to a job at this point where I wear high heels every day or anything like that. And believe me, I have a shoe fetish. So there's one of my secrets. That's one of my ways of self-caring is to look at pretty shoes. But so I go from one extreme to the next. I have these beautiful collection of high heels and then I'm barefoot. So it's balance, right? Is that part
You
of
know,
grounding is balance?
it is. It is. And it's funny, some of the things that, might people might not think of self-care. I was thinking about this since we're gonna have this conversation. Um, I'll put my makeup on. I might not be going anywhere. I might not be seeing anybody. I'm gonna do my hair. I'm gonna do my makeup just every now and then, because I like it, because it makes me feel good.
Mhm.
And it can be, whatever it is for you. If it's putting on the most comfortable pants that you have, or if it's like, spending a little extra time, giving yourself a facial, whatever it is that's sort of like self-nurturing. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. It feels good to come back to yourself, whatever that looks like. So if you're used to having some place to go every day where you are putting on your hair and makeup, putting on your face, so to speak, then it can be jolting to say, "Oh my gosh, I've not done that. I've not taken care of myself that way in days or weeks at this point." So um, sometimes I do too. I didn't today. Today was one of the days where I'm like, pull the hair back in a messy bun and there's no makeup, there's nothing
Yep.
happening. But other days in the videos, my hair is actually, I've showered and it's down and I'm smiling with a little mascara on. And
You look, you look beautiful. It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. That's the point. It's show up for yourself each day in the way that feels appropriate. And I think that that's maybe what I'm learning my definition of self-care is. It's show up right now for yourself in
And
whatever that
also
looks
be
like.
will, I think our modern society is very rigid, and we have very, scheduled lives.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with that, scheduling our lives like that doesn't really leave a lot of time for movement in the moment.
Yes.
And right now, we have this beautiful ability to really be present within ourselves and give ourselves permission. You know what? I'm tired now. I'm going to take a nap. Or, um, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go zone out and watch Netflix. Whatever it is for you that you need to do, I guess basically honor it and without judgment. We're not here in this world for now. We have this moment of pause where we're not in this world where we have to perform. We can just be. And that's a kind of an amazing opportunity for all of us.
And what perfect opportunity to learn how to ground, because my own experience, this time and in prior times when I was learning what grounding meant, and the experiences, some of those that I'm talking to, just sitting and being and then looking around and seeing, well, I could do this and I could do that, and what do I need? And I found out I need a lot right now. I'm recovering from I'll go ahead and call myself a workaholic, but I'm kind of recovering from not working right now. And it looks chaotic when I think of all of the things that I could be doing, that I should be doing, that, I could do this for self-care and I can do that for self-care. And maybe I should take, 30 days and work on my butt and have a nice butt when I walk out of this. Or, there's so much. I'm going to cook all the good things. I'm going to paint some pictures. I'm going to write. I'm going to do self-care summit. So what advice would you give to those that kind of have this kid in the candy shop chaos happening when they look at self-care?
What comes to mind is to be still, because that's one thing we have a really hard time knowing how to do in modern society. We are constantly being bombarded with information between media and our phones and our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So we have forgotten how to just not do. And actually, there's a whole lot to not doing.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is to go outside each day, if you can, for 10 minutes and sit and just do nothing other than slow your breath way down. Take big, deep breaths in and really big breaths out. You can have a pause in between and be really present with your breath. Keep doing this until you find that chatter, that anxious, like needing to like do voice sort of start to settle within you. And then once you're there, what the beautiful thing is, you'll start to open up to kind of more, and you'll be able to hear kind of that voice of your higher self. And that voice is really who should be leading our lives. And it's not really something that we've given a lot of time to in our modern world, because we're constantly performing and doing. So 10 minutes, you have this opportunity, the whole world does right now, which is sort of beautiful, to take time to do your inner work and to settle your mind and to kind of connect with source, with your own higher self, with God, if you like. And I think with doing that work, you'll have a better idea of what it is you really should be focusing on and doing.
Hmm. Yeah, taking those couple of minutes to sit regularly outside. When I was practicing that, and I'm practicing that now a little bit too. I'm trying to get back to my schedule, or not. Who knows what's going to happen? But there was a while that I was going outside to sit every day, no matter the weather, for a few minutes, and it kind of set the foundation and set the stage. Like my day prioritized itself when I did that. So I didn't have to worry about coming up with what's next. What's next just showed up for me.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why they call meditation a practice, is because you have to make time for it in your life. You have to decide, okay, I can see that this is beneficial because when I'm doing this, I'm not running like a chicken. And trust me, I am that girl. I run like a chicken. I'll run around and I'll be like, thinking I'm being super, accomplishing things, but really I'm not operating well. I'm running like a crazy chicken. Um, so morning is a great time for it. I like morning. You can do it at night too, but in some ways when you do it in the morning, it sets your whole day, like you said. You can just sort of have that moment of sort of center to get clear and then go and fill up and then go about proceeding in your day. And right now it's such a beautiful time to go outside because it's spring. So
Mhm.
spring morning, you get to hear all these birds and it's just awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. And I love, I can feel warmth coming in, right? Like so
Yes.
it's um around 60 degrees, I think, at this point.
Yes.
And that is amazing to me. It is incredible to witness the recharge that happens once that we get over
Yes.
that brink of it's not 40, it's 60.
Yes. And some of us are more light sensitive than others. I'm one of those people. After I had my first child, living in Oregon was difficult for me because it was so gray there. And I could physically feel depression
Mhm.
with the lack of light. So I'm like you. It's like the sun returns and I'm like, woohoo. It feels amazing. Just want to go out there and, soak it up. And obviously I don't really tan. But yeah, it definitely, I think living in the East more than any other place, we celebrate spring because winter is long.
It is. It is. And I'm so glad that you brought up, SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, because that can happen. It doesn't have to be wintertime for that to happen. It can happen because we've been sitting on our couch for too long and not knowing what to do. So we can start to
Yes.
feel, it can feel like depression,
Mm-hmm.
and fatigue and tiredness. And just like you said, 10 minutes, just go outside for 10 minutes. And it's amazing what can happen in that 10 minutes to feel refreshed and able to motivate from going forward.
The Native Americans, it was like grandfather, sun, and Mother Earth, and it was like you go out in the morning and you would greet grandfather and you would greet grandmother, mother. And it was that kind of that balance, and that connection of here as earthlings, we have this sort of celestial connection, because ultimately we are made of stardust. We are made out of the exact same stuff that the sun is. And there's a part of us that sort of can feel that within us. It's like we can connect to that battery that the sun is, just as much as we can connect to the earth and what she is, because the elements that make up the earth are also what make up our own bodies. So those two energies, when we kind of connect to those together, I have found can very much clean and clear my own energetic field and help, charge me. So I have energy to conquer and be the superwoman, that I think all women have to be.
Yeah. Before we started recording, you were talking about how much work the moms must be doing right now. And
Yes.
that's true. That's so
Yes.
true. With all of the kids at home and having to figure it out. And kudos and grace to all the moms, because it's nonstop and it's a thankless job, but they love you and it's worth it in the end. But I'm reminded as I say that it is important to fill your cup, and you can take the kids outside in the yard for 10 minutes and be charging yourself while the kids are running around. In between saying, stop that, don't hit each other. It's okay if it doesn't look perfect.
Definitely. And I don't know. I had 3 boys. I raised 3 boys, and I always told them to go outside, not only for my own sanity, but when there was definitely that. But I remembered as a kid, like, how much I loved being outside, how peaceful and calming and creative I was out there. And so it's good for kids to be out there.
Absolutely. And again, coming back to the All Trails app, you can look to see what trails are just a mile long and what they're in a loop, or they're next to some water, so the kids can explore. And I know the little polywogs are starting to come out, tadpoles are starting to come out, so it's neat.
Yes.
I saw minnows the other day in the river, so
Yes.
there's all kinds of things to do in that mile that could take a few hours.
Definitely. Yeah, all the little froggies are singing now. I saw actually a couple moths yesterday on the trail. I don't know. Spring is so great because you can feel the energy of everything waking up. You can feel the grasses. They're one of the first things that start to wake up. So the grasses wake up, all the trees start to bud. And you literally can feel it within you. You can feel this sort of energy of the earth returning. And yeah, it's a beautiful time to be outside.
Love it. And you can create little scavenger hunts and missions for all the kids. And even if you don't have kids, you can create a scavenger hunt for yourself. And
Yes.
how many orange things can I see? Because orange is a fall color. So what are you going to see that's orange or yellow with the spring coming alive?
Yes, it's constantly changing here. It's like a constantly changing environment. You can go to the same spot, and depending on what season you're in, it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. All really great wisdom. Do you have anything more to add? The question I've been asking is, if you could imagine that you are talking to the world right now, the global community, what would you say to them?
I think that right now we need to remember to be kind and patient with one another. Everyone is at different stages right now, and the human condition, some people, maybe they're in a denial stage. Other people, maybe they're in a fearful stage. So really what's important is that you do your own self-care and check in with your own fear level, and your own judgment, and clean your own house. This is a time where we can do that work. We can, be present within ourselves and check in our own heart. And the other thing I really want to say is, it's important to stay informed. Check into the news if you need to, no problem, but turn it off, because that energy of the constant 24-hour news cycle isn't healthy for us. It just isn't. So, turn it off, go, take a walk, meditate, create some beautiful food, dance, do something with your family, with each other that is positive. Because it is really hard, and I think we all understand this is a difficult time. And so, just take the time to turn off the TV and to find creative ways to be together and to celebrate, this life we have.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that this life that we have is precious and unique. And no matter what, even if, I live to be 100 years old, it is actually short.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this beautiful opportunity in this moment to really take a look at how we're living our life. Are we living our life from a place of heart and passion and love and joy? Or are we living our life from a place of fear and scarcity and judgment?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we have this beautiful moment right now where we can really try to take a look at how we're living our lives and how we maybe want to move forward with how we live our lives. And so I invite everyone to do that during
Mhm.
this time.
Yeah. The thought that just came to mind as you were speaking is coming to acceptance with how fragile life is right now can only make you want to love stronger and be more joyful and be happy because we don't know. We just, I mean, even before a global pandemic, we didn't know. But right now, without all of the unknowns out there, we just can't guarantee anything. So,
So be good to one another and be good to yourselves for sure.
absolutely. I love the word grace. Grace, I think, is my favorite word in the whole language. And it is a time for grace because it is a vulnerable, fragile time, but it is also a time of connection and happiness and peacefulness if we let it be.
Definitely. And I love that word. And I think it's beautiful what you're doing, finding a way to help bring out, the positive in this and to share, different techniques people are doing as they're getting through that. So that's good, my dear. You're doing your own beautiful work, and that's good.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of it and agreeing to it. Um, are you okay with people contacting you throughout this, even though you're not in business right now? I mean, I know there's distance Reiki and there's things that you can be doing. So, how do people get a hold of you?
So I have a Facebook page. It's called the Temple Rose. You can message me there. I am doing classes and things through the Mystic Rose. We're just transitioning to an online format. So Mystic Rose Magic is also on Facebook. It has its own website. You can find me there as well.
Very good. All right. Thank you again so very much for being here. I'm going to say goodbye for now. So goodbye to everybody that's watching this. Thank you for joining us. This was video number 12, and we do have another one. They are coming in. So stay tuned for number 13 tomorrow. All
Ooh, for the full moon. Nice.
right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.